if you're watching this, and there's someone in your life who makes you feel uneasy, not afraid, not angry, just uneasy, and you can't explain why. This video is not random. Some people don't hurt you with words, they drain you just by being near. Stay with me, because one of these signs hides behind kindness. Before we talk about anyone else, let's talk about you, because the first thing people ask is not, is something wrong with them? The real question is, why do I feel different around this person? That question matters, because spiritual influence is often felt long before it is understood. Dark influence does not always arrive with fear. It often arrives with familiarity, a smile, a normal conversation, a regular presence, and yet something inside you reacts. Sign 1, you feel drained after being around them. Have you noticed this pattern? You meet them, you talk, nothing bad happens, no argument, no conflict, no emotional explosion, and still, when the interaction ends, you feel tired, not physically, emotionally. Your energy feels lower, your motivation drops, your mood feels heavier, and you start asking yourself, why do I feel like this when nothing actually happened? This is where most people get confused. They assume tiredness means weakness, or stress, or overthinking. But spiritual draining feels different. It is quiet, it is subtle, and it repeats. Light gives energy. When you are around positive influence, you feel lighter afterward. Dark influence does the opposite. It does not give, it takes. Some people leave you feeling inspired, others leave you feeling empty, and that difference matters more than words. Dark spiritual influence does not need aggression, it only needs access, and access comes through proximity. That is why this sign is so important, because it appears early, before damage is obvious, before relationships break, before confusion grows. Most people ignore this sign because they think exhaustion must have a visible cause, but spiritual draining does not announce itself. It slowly pulls and waits. Sign 2. Your peace leaves when they enter. Now ask yourself this. How do you feel before they arrive? And how do you feel after, before they come? The room feels calm. Your thoughts feel settled. Then they enter, and something shifts. No argument starts. No harsh words are spoken. But the atmosphere changes. Your peace fades quietly. Your body feels tense. Your mind feels alert. You don't panic. You don't react. You just feel off. And the question forms again. Why does my peace disappear when they're near? Peace is not fragile. It does not vanish without reason. And true peace does not depend on silence. It depends on alignment. When someone carries influence that does not align with light, peace reacts, not dramatically, but instinctively. This is why discernment often feels physical. Tightness in the chest, unease in the stomach, restlessness in the mind. These are not emotions, they are signals, and ignoring signals is how confusion grows. Not everyone who smiles carries peace. Not everyone who speaks kindly carries light. Some people bring discomfort without meaning to. Others bring it because something within them is unsettled. Either way, your peace is responding for a reason. Sign 3. They normalize negativity. Listen carefully to the pattern of conversations. Not once, not twice, but consistently. Every discussion leads back to fear, or failure, or doubt. They may not sound cruel, they may not sound angry, they may even sound realistic. They say things like, life is just like this. Don't expect too much. Nothing really changes. At first, you listen politely, then slowly, you begin agreeing. Hope feels childish. Faith feels impractical. Positivity feels foolish, and you don't realize what happened. Negativity became normal. Dark influence does not always feel dark. Sometimes it feels logical. That's what makes it dangerous. When darkness feels reasonable, it spreads without resistance. You stop dreaming. You stop expecting. You stop believing in growth. And the worst part is this: you think you're being mature, but what actually happened is subtle discouragement. Light encourages movement. Darkness encourages settling. And when settling feels safe, progress stops. Most people ignore this part. And that's exactly why nothing changes. Sign 4. You feel confused after being around them before meeting them. Your thoughts feel clear. Your decisions feel steady. Your direction feels certain. After spending time with them, something changes. You replay conversations in your mind. You question things you are sure about. You feel mentally scattered. And the question comes quietly: why do I feel confused after being around this person? Confusion is not random. It has a source. Confusion does not come from clarity, and clarity does not coexist with darkness. When influence is wrong, it does not always create fear. Sometimes it creates fog. You stop trusting your judgment. You second-guess your instincts. You hesitate when you didn't before. This is how confusion works. It doesn't shout, it blurs. Many people think confusion means they are thinking deeply, but spiritual confusion does the opposite. It weakens confidence. It delays action. It disconnects intuition. This is why confusion is dangerous, because when you are unsure, you are easier to influence. Clarity protects. Confusion exposes. And when confusion appears consistently after interacting with someone, that is not coincidence, it is impact. Sign 5. They resist spiritual topics without obvious reason. Now notice this carefully. Mention God, they shift the conversation. Mention prayer, they joke. Mention scripture, they become uncomfortable. Not angry, not aggressive, just resistant. And you begin asking yourself, why do spiritual topics make them uneasy? Dark influence does not fight light. It avoids it. Light reveals. Darkness hides. So, instead of arguing, resistance shows up as discomfort. They may say things like, "Let's not get into that." Everyone believes different things. Religion is personal. On the surface, these statements sound respectful, but repeated avoidance creates distance. You pray less around them. You speak less about faith. You silence spiritual thoughts, not because you stopped believing, but because resistance trained you to stay quiet. And silence weakens connection. When light is avoided long enough, darkness grows comfortable. This is why influence matters, not because people force beliefs, but because they shape environment, and environment shapes behavior. Sign 6. Your growth slows when they are close. Look at your life honestly, not emotionally, but factually. Before they were close and after, your discipline, your motivation, your sense of direction. Something slowed, not stopped, slowed. You still want to grow. You still plan. You still care. But progress feels delayed. And the question forms again. Why did my growth slow after they entered my life? Growth thrives in encouragement and withers in subtle discouragement. Some people don't block progress directly. They distract from it. They normalize delay. They justify stagnation. They make comfort feel acceptable. And slowly, you stop pushing forward. Not because you lost ability, but because influence reshaped priorities. Some delays are part of divine timing. Others are not. Some delays are protection. Others are interference. Discernment is knowing the difference. Sign 7. You felt warned, but you ignored it. This is the most important sign, and the most ignored. Be honest with yourself. You felt something early on, a quiet discomfort, a subtle hesitation, an inner warning, but you ignored it. You told yourself you were overthinking. You told yourself to be polite. You told yourself not to judge. And now you ask, why did I feel warned, but stay silent? That feeling was not fear. It was discernment. Discernment does not scream. It whispers. It speaks before logic, before explanation, before evidence, and when ignored, it goes quiet. Not because it was wrong, but because it was dismissed. Every time discernment is ignored, clarity becomes harder to access. This is why awareness matters, because recognizing influence restores protection. If this video brought someone to mind, that awareness alone is protection. You are not meant to hear this by accident. You are not wrong for noticing what others ignore. You are not weak for feeling what others dismiss. Stay close, because clarity always comes before peace. If this answered something you've been quietly questioning, someone else may need this clarity too. Share it with intention. Subscribe the channel, like this video, and stay connected here. These messages are not noise. They are guidance.